everybody, this is Dakoda from DtermiNATION, and today I have some fairly important things to talk to you about, so let's get started. Originally, I was planning on using this topic as my first episode of Season 2 of First World Problems. If you don't know what First World Problems is, there's a link in the description below. It is a show where I talk about small, minute things that aren't very important, but still bug the ever-living shit out of me. I started to think of ways in which I could use this topic for First World Problems, but I decided that it just doesn't fit the criteria of First World Problems. This is very much so a very important topic that everyone should be discussing at the moment. The topic that I am referring to is the debate that happened last night between Bill Nye and Ken Ham. For those of you who apparently have been living under a rock for the past few years and don't know who either of these people are, Bill Nye, also known as Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill Nye has a lot of credentials here, so I'm just going to go ahead and name them off of the internet. American science educator, comedian, television host, actor, writer, and scientist who began his career as a mechanical engineer. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ken Ham is, he is a creationist who advocates the literal interpretation of the Book of Genesis. This debate was called Creationism versus Evolution. Most of you should now understand why I could not use this topic as an episode of First World Problems. I knew that it was a really good topic to cover for the first episode of a season, but it's just way too important to leave it for something where I pretend to be a really angry asshole. This is really important, and I know that this doesn't really fit most of the demographic that we have here at DtermiNATION, but it's still very important, and I just want to take a few minutes to talk to you guys about it. If you wish to watch the debate, there's a link in the description. I don't know how long that site is going to keep it on there, though. They were talking as if they were going to take it down after a few days, so please hurry up and watch it if you haven't, or I'm sure you can find it anywhere else on the internet. If you want to watch it, then go ahead and watch it right now. Feel free to X out of this video. I don't have anything that needs to be said that you won't hear from the debate. But I am going to continue making this video for those of you who don't have the time to watch an almost 3-hour-long debate. I took notes during the debate, so I'm going to use those to cover most of the major bullet points from both sides. I am not biased to this subject, so I'm going to be covering the pros and cons for both sides, because I don't wish to start some type of war in the comments, which I know is going to happen. I know that there's probably going to be people who are angry with me because no matter how much I tell them that I am not being biased, someone's going to say, "Oh, I can't believe you agree with this side," or "Oh, I can't believe you agree with that side." I'm not agreeing with any side. I'm my own thing. I don't want you to assume that I am for either side. I just want to get through these bullet points. So here we go. The debate can get cut up into 3 different sections. The first section being a 30-minute presentation. The second section of the debate was time given to both sides for a rebuttal over the presentation, along with a second rebuttal against the first rebuttal. And the third section of the debate was when they gave the floor to the audience to ask questions and stuff like that. Now, I'm just going to start with section 1, and we will go down through all the sections and discuss how both sides handled themselves in each of those sections, and you guys can decide who the winner was from there. Because that was the other thing, this debate did not declare a winner, which was anticlimactic, to say the least, but I mean, I guess everyone's free to their own opinion anyway, so even if a winner was declared, it doesn't really matter, because everyone's going to say, "Oh, this guy obviously won," and then a bunch of people are going to say, "No, this guy obviously won. Where the hell were you?" So I'll leave it to you guys. Now, when it comes to the 30-minute presentation, both sides do a very good job of presenting their evidence and giving good facts and information, and they don't really diverge from that. I'm going to go ahead and cover Bill's 30-minute presentation first, and then I'll go over to Ken. Bill had some very good points during his presentation. He covered things like, how could Noah and a small group of men and their wives be capable of building the largest wooden ship known to man, along with 14,000 animals, and be able to have enough room to store enough food for all those animals and people? He also made another good point, saying that if the whole world was covered in water, how would plant life and trees and other things that can be dated to 6,000 or 7,000, 8,000 years of age, how can those things be alive if they were left behind and were sitting underwater for all that time? Most trees and plant life cannot live while being 100% submerged underwater, especially for a large amount of time. He also talked a bit about snow ice, which is the ice that is created when layers and layers of snow land on top of each other and become solid. Basically, they take a large drill and they drill it into some ice and they take out this cylinder chunk of ice, which has been created by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of summer and winter cycles over and over and over again, which Bill said we would have to have 170 winter and summer cycles in a year. Also, he talks about how there are a lot of layers of rocks and sediments that could not be in the ground without a ridiculous amount of time of being created. More time than what Ken Ham says the world's even been around. Like I said, that's most of the major bullet points. They said a lot more very important and interesting stuff. So please, if you have the time, check out the link below. Now I'm going to cover Ken Ham's 30-minute presentation. He gave us 3 major bullet points here. He says that people these days are being indoctrinated into believing that creationists and the Bible do not have anything to do with science, and that why are scientists allowed to be called scientists but not creationists? Because he's a creationist and he considers himself a scientist. And he definitely is. He has done a lot of things in the science field that has nothing to do with creationism. Another thing that he brought up that didn't really fit into what the debate was about, but he brought up that Jesus created marriage. He also very subtly snuck in the fact that marriage is between a man and a woman and nothing else. That it was real quick, like not even a few seconds. He was just, and that's out there. Now look over here. He also took the time to say, this is almost a quote, well, I'm right because we have a book that says so. That I'm not being a dickhead here. He says that 3 times. During the question segment, he actually says, when Bill Nye gives his answer to the question, the other side gets a rebuttal to what their answer was. Bill Nye says his long paragraphed statement to the person answering their question correctly, and then when it's Ken Ham's turn, he says something along the lines of, well, you see, Bill Nye, there's a book that tells us the answer to that. Since you're not able to answer that question actually, like you're giving like what you think, you don't actually have the answers, well, there's this book that gives all the answers, so I guess I win that question. We're now going to switch sections to the rebuttals after the presentation. For the most part, Bill Nye and Ken Ham stay very respectful, and they basically re-say and rehash most of the information that they gave in their presentation, saying, well, the thing that you said doesn't make any sense because of the thing that I said. So, very back and forth, not really any ground made for either side there. So we're going to go ahead to the question segment now. So Bill got a lot of questions that seemed to be kind of like a, ha, we caught you, Bill Nye. Questions like, oh, well, if the Big Bang really happened, then what created the Big Bang, or what was there before that? And Bill Nye just says, we don't know! And that's why I'm a scientist. I love to learn, and I love to think, and I love to spread knowledge onto other people. We know there was a Big Bang, but we don't know what was going on before that, and we're trying to figure it out. Ken Ham says, well, you see, Bill Nye, there's a book. And here we go. People are probably starting to get very angry at me on the comments because they think I'm against Ken Ham. I'm not. I'm just really upset at how disrespectful he was being to Bill Nye. Bill Nye was giving very well-made answers for these questions where he's put on the spot to answer these, and he only has 2 minutes to answer each of these questions. Bill's giving out these good answers. He's not making anything up. He's not pulling anything out of nowhere. He's not avoiding the question. He's trying his best with the time that he was given. And then Ken Ham gets his time for a rebuttal, and all he seems to think he has to say is, well, you see, Bill Nye, there's a book that has the answer to that question. You can't answer that question, but I can, so I guess I win this one. I mean, come on. Like, you're in a major debate. Treat yourself and everyone else here with some dignity, and you don't have to be, like, I get, like, they're trying to be, like, that's not the only time multiple people in the debate try and be funny and stuff like that, and like, it's really bad, but you're like, ha ha ha. But this is like, after he does it 3 times, it's just, I'm like, is this guy know that he's in a debate that's really important? And most religious people don't even take the side of Ken Ham, so you would think that he would understand that he needs to make some ground here and start pulling in some help and explaining to people why he believes the things that he does, but he seems to just kind of brush it off with really bad comedy. Bill eventually got angry enough to ask him this question. Bill said, what can you prove? What can you predict? Because as of right now, all you seem to be saying is, hey, we have this book that gives us all the answers. Well, if you have all the answers, then what can you prove by saying, okay, that we don't know that any of that is real. The book that was written and translated a bunch of times and finally into English, something could have been lost in translation. We definitely know that there were a lot of people that took the Bible and ripped out a bunch of chunks and put in a bunch of chunks. So we definitely don't have the original. So what can you prove with this? What can you predict with this Bible? And Ken Ham doesn't really answer the question. He avoids it. He also says, well, the Bible was written by people who were told to write it by Jesus, so they're obviously telling the truth. And that was basically, he repeated that a lot. He also said that there are no other religious books by anyone in any religion saying where we came from, or what God created us, or anything like that, anything explaining anything around us. There's no other book like that, even though a lot of people can name a bunch of religious books that seem to know the answer of where we came from or who created us, but I guess Ken Ham doesn't know those books. Ken Ham also brought up an interesting idea that the speed of movement could change, and that things that look like they could be millions and millions of years old could actually be way younger, and maybe rocks age different than us, or maybe animals age different, or plants and trees age different than us, which I like. That's probably not true, but I mean, that's an interesting thought. He also said a lot about how carbon dating and things like that aren't accurate, because if you test the same subject more than once, you're going to get different results. And Bill says, well, yeah, you're going to get different results, but they're all around the same area. And he's like, oh, yeah, so Bill, you just admitted it. You are wrong. You could be wrong. And he says, well, yeah, we could be, but if we're going to get into that fight, then I'm less wrong than you are. You say 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, whatever, and I say a few million, and I'm a lot closer than you are. So, are we in a debate? Is this what this is gonna be? Bill and I talked about something really cool that I didn't know this, he used the quote, survival of the fittest. And he explained that it's not what most of us think it means. It doesn't mean that whoever's the strongest or whoever's the smartest is going to thrive, and all of the other people are going to fall and lose, and eventually get killed off and replaced with people who are better. He actually explains that it means how you fit into your environment and your ability to adapt to change, to be able to survive in situations that you're not prepared for. So when an animal needs to learn how to survive in a mostly water environment, he might learn how to swim better, or he might slowly over time through the generations of his family get gills or fins or whatever's going to help him survive in his environment until his environment starts to change. Then he changes too, because he is the fittest. He is taking part in survival of the fittest, and he's trying to survive in his environment. I didn't know that, and I know that a lot of people didn't know that, and that's really cool. I didn't know that. Also, there was two things that Ken Ham said in the question section of the debate. Someone asked him a hypothetical question. He basically told them to go fuck themselves. He did not answer the question. He said, I don't answer hypothetical questions because they're hypothetical, and that's silly. I believe that the question that was asked of him was, hypothetically, if there was 100% proof that he was wrong, would he still believe in God? Because a lot of people believe, which this is a very, very good point, why does evolution need to mean there's no God? Why can't evolution just be the thing that was created by God to cause all of the things that we already understand? And that's a good point, but Ken Ham doesn't seem to think that. He says, if evolution was real always, that was the other weird thing, he says evolution explains now, but not the past, because there was God there, so there was no evolution. Now there's evolution, which I guess means that there's no God now. I don't really understand what point he was trying to make there. He seems to think that believing that evolution is the 100% answer to all the questions that we have would mean that there was no God, or at least God didn't have a big hand on what happened to us and what caused us to be the people that we are today. There was also a question where someone asked him if he actually believed the things in the Bible literally, like he literally believed that all these things happened. He said, what do you mean by literally? There's many different meanings of the word literal. I don't know what that means, Ken Ham, but go ahead, explain. And he went on to say that, yes, he literally believes every word in the Bible. And the two of them went back and forth for a very long time, question to question, saying a lot of things. Ken Ham definitely began to be a little bit more respectful towards the end of the debate. Bill Nye started to get very upset. That's why there's probably going to be a bunch of pictures of Bill Nye looking like this, and also this. I hope I can find pictures on the internet of some of the faces he was making, because some of them were pretty fun. It was like, Bill Nye's like, oh, Ken Ham, like, I swear to God, you better be ready in the parking lot after this. I'm obviously joking. That was definitely Bill Nye concentrating on what Ken Ham was saying. He was trying to be polite and listen, and he did a really good job of listening to what he had to say and then asking questions afterwards. And they went back and forth very respectfully, which basically came to the end of the debate, or close to it, where someone asked them what their favorite color was. They had one word to answer, and Bill Nye said green, then followed up with explaining that he loves that color because because plants are green, which means they reflect light, and that the fact that they're able to reflect green is crazy, and he turned into Bill Nye the Science Guy again, and I was laughing my ass off. I turned into that giddy kid watching his shows again, and he like went straight into it. He's like, the whole debate, he's like, oh yes, I'm Bill Nye, blah 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 blah, and at the very end he was like, plants are green and they reflect light, and he just went right back into it, like, and he hasn't even missed a day of making that show. And it was great. And then Ken Ham said, well, since he got like 300 words, can I have 3 words? And everyone went, ho 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 ho. And he said, observational science. That's my really terrible Australian. Sorry, I don't want to offend any Australians. You guys are cool. I love the Outback. The steakhouse, not the real thing, because it's filled with scorpions and shit. Observational science, he lifts up his tie and he points at his shirt and he goes, blue, and everyone goes, ah, ha, ha, ha. And there were a few other questions after that. That basically led to the end of the debate. They shook hands and everyone was walking around, and Bill Nye was talking to people, and Ken Ham was also talking to some people. And I think I saw Bill Nye like signing autographs or something, but it was, I mean, overall, crazy awesome debate. It's completely up to you guys to decide who the winner was. Like I said, links down below. Check out the debate. It's like 3 hours long, but totally worth it. Also, in the description is a link to First World Problems, where you can check out the first season of that. I'm going to be starting the second season here fairly soon on DtermiNATION. Also, since you're here, you might as well like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, tell me what you thought of the debate. We would definitely appreciate any 4 of those things that you want to do. It would definitely help us in the long run. This has been Dakoda from DtermiNATION, and I will see you guys on the next thing on DtermiNATION. Whether it be Dakoda and DePietro play, First World Problems, a short film, whatever it may be, I will be there waiting for you. This is Dakoda, signing off. I'll check you guys later. DtermiNATION!